You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Hart of Dixie's After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Hart of Dixie After Show.
Yay! Bing is for doing, and we are back with Hart of Dixie. First time ever, first after show ever. We are in season 2, episode 1, called I Fall to Pieces. So it should be great today. I'm one of your hosts here today, Whitney Lane. I'm joined with co-host
Paige Sullivan,
Christine Archer,
and Michelle Renee.
And we are just going to dig right in because we have lots of good stuff to talk about. First things first, we've got to talk about George versus Wade. I mean, that's the big overarching theme here. Who would you pick? That kind of thing. Who's Zoe going to pick? Well, we kind of found out, right?
Yeah, we found out. Well, we didn't find out who her heart wants her to pick. We found out kind of who her body wants her to pick, and she picked Wade, which I have to agree with all of the way.
For sure. Wait, it's just like George is too nice sometimes. You know, he's just straight out of, he's literally like, I grew up just like Bluebell, Alabama. No joke. Small town like that. You got to have a little bit of
Anyone that can
rebel.
be in love with Lemon for 15 years is a little weird. So that's why I'm definitely Team
Anyone who
Wade.
can be in love with anyone at that age for 15 years.
Well,
Hey, it's the South, girlfriend.
I know,
It's the
that's
South.
true. And we should know that. We're all from Virginia.
That's right.
Well, not only that, though, George, like, you know, he was about to get married. He should have known better than to be going after Zoe. So the one who's kind of playing it right is Wade right now. He's single. He's available. I mean, George just got out of, like you said, a 15-year relationship. That's not even fair.
And I definitely think it was sort of an excuse in a way because it's like, okay, he's with Lemon for so long. So he's like, oh, I give it all up for you, Zoe. I'm not going to get married anymore. But, like, really, he probably wants to experience the single life a little bit. So he's just kind of finding that excuse in Zoe. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more develop with George here in the future.
I will say this, even though I'm totally Team Wade, I think that Zoe and George look better together, like beside each other.
Well, he is good looking. He's
Yeah.
very
Aren't they
good
both,
They're
though?
both
Isn't that the
good-looking,
point?
yeah.
It's a CW, people.
But just as far as
Very
like
true.
the aesthetics of the couple goes, I'm Team Zoe
Is
and
everyone,
George.
everyone Team Wade, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Team Wade.
I don't know. I've been reading online tons of pros and cons for the different guys. I mean, obviously, George is stable. He's got that going for him. They both lived in New York, Zoe and George, so they have that in common as well. You know, they're business people, lawyer, doctor. It would fit well together. But, like, chemistry-wise, you definitely see Zoe and Wade.
And I mean, George obviously makes more sense out of the two, but I feel like ultimately she's going to pick Wade.
In the end, we'll see what happens, right? That's Hart of Dixie for you. Yeah, so it's very interesting. I mean, we see a lot of stuff unfold through this one. You see George and Wade getting into fistfights over these girls because obviously they're trying to figure out who's going to end up winning. But it's just like, is that even worth it? Like, why are you fighting over this girl? You just got out of a relationship. You should focus on yourself, don't you think, for a little bit of time? It's a rebound.
Apparently,
She's
George doesn't
afraid.
think so.
Right?
And that's what guys do. I mean, they fight. You know, they don't want to talk about it. I mean, you thought they were going to be all civil with the beer and having it on the porch, and then they just fight, and that's their way of getting it over with. You know, they're not like us girls will hold a grudge for months and months and months, like Lemon is holding against Zoe. But I mean,
Kind of. But then they're like best friends by the end of the episode.
she's desperate. I
Yeah,
mean, she's
She's
desperate.
unstable.
Very, very
It
unstable.
happens. It happens, people. No, but I do find it interesting because George he's the one that brings the beer. He's like, you know, peace offering. He always is the good guy. Like, everyone in the town knows him as, like, this is George Tucker. He's the bachelor. He's the perfect guy.
Modi.
But really, like, he's at fault in some of this as well. Him and Zoe kissed before, while him and Lemon were together. That shouldn't have happened in the first place. Like, he obviously needed an escape, and he found a way out of it. Now we'll see what really happens and how his character develops with different future women.
It's the same thing with, once a cheater, always a cheater, though. You have to wonder, George is going behind Lemon's back, really exploring his feelings for Zoe and taking her last season to New Orleans and, kissing at the jazz club, pretending he's married to her. And it's, how long before he gets bored with Zoe? Maybe 15 years. Maybe it'll take 15 years.
Yeah.
But
They can get a good kid or two in 15
Right.
years.
Well, I find it interesting that everyone put Zoe at fault with this in the whole show, the whole town. I mean, literally, small town where the gossip will travel like wildfire. I grew up in it. I know exactly what it's like, and it's crazy. You walk out and everyone's like, oh, didn't know you broke up. Fun. It doesn't matter. But Zoe's the one getting the wrath of it. She's getting the bad end of the stick.
And she has, the patients coming in and calling her a homewrecker. And yet
That's so
George
awkward.
is the one who just kind of left Lemon in the middle of the wedding. But
And wait, time out. Lemon had an affair, and that's why all of this drama's going down.
LaVon Hayes.
Yeah.
That boy is everywhere, Mr. Mayor of all people. But it's true. They both obviously, 15 years, that's a long time. You're kids. You got to grow up and kind of experience things a different way. So that's obviously what's going to happen, which should be really interesting to see how it works out. Wade, he's just the token bad guy of Bluebell, Alabama, but he has a good heart deep down, I think. That's why I kind of root for him. He's like the underdog.
Not only that, every girl's got a type. Girls like the pretty boy, which is George, and then there's the scruffy guy that you shouldn't like, but you want to so badly, and that's Wade. I think the whole town's already slept with him, so it was only a matter of time before Zoe did. I guess, as long as she could and let herself do that. But everybody wants like a little bad boy in their life once in a while.
Yeah, I didn't expect Zoe to I expected her to fall for him, and I think it worked out well how it all turned out. But I think in the end, he cares about her way more than he shows her. So that's what's gonna, I think, unfold. You see how he treats his dad in the first season, how good of a son he is. He'll go pick him up. His drunk dad that everyone knows is a town drunk. He's got a good heart, and I think that he's just trying to hide it. He's trying to he's a little insecure. He puts up walls, and she called him out on that too.
I think it's like the kindergarten, I like you, so I'm going to pull your pigtails a little bit. I think that's their relationship. I think he just flirts with her and teases her secretly because he likes her.
Well, yeah, he definitely does, don't you think? I think
he loves her. So is she really like a B- in bed, or is he just saying that? 'Cause
He
trying
just
to flirt with
saying
her?
that.
He
It's Rachel
knows.
Dolson. She's not a B-.
He knows exactly how to push her buttons, and he does it very well. She lets him.
She admittedly says she's bad at relationships too. She was in that one relationship for 6 years, and she said she never even loved him. It was just kind of one of those things. So, I think she's just as immature as he is when it comes to dating, and she doesn't know what to do. So she goes along with Wade. She lets him treat her like that.
That's for sure. Well, we definitely want to know what you think about George versus Wade here, because we love to hear it. So go to iTunes. You can download our podcast for Hart of Dixie. You can rate and comment, and we really want to know exactly what y'all think, because it's always fun. Different scenarios. Who really likes George? Who likes Wade? So definitely let us know, and we'll keep in touch with that. So we got to kind of move on. There's a new girl in town, right?
Ruby.
Ruby. She just took the town by storm.
New girl, but old girl at the same time.
Right, which is
Coming
great.
back.
She's got different levels here that we're figuring out. Immediately her and Zoe hit it off, which is good, because I think the whole town, it's like, Zoe, she's not their favorite. Ruby obviously wasn't either. She just left town for a while, went to Atlanta, and no one knows what happened. So they kind of bond immediately over that, over her grandfather's earwax, which was really disgusting. I was like, okay, no,
What
thank
was that?
you.
Was that like a hearing aid? Or
No, I really feel like that was like the
looked like
earwax.
I should have left that part out of it.
They
but-
really, I did not need to see that. That's for sure. That poor guy calling her a home wrecker the whole time. But Zoe and Ruby, they hit it off because they're like, no one really likes us. So what do y'all think about her?
I like her, and I don't think it's that nobody likes Ruby. I think people did, besides Lemon, Breland, who doesn't like her, but I think it's their connection of she's from outside of Bluebell now. She's been outside of Bluebell for 10 years now, and she comments on her boots, and, they have something in common. They're not dressing like a Southern belle, which I find appalling anyways, the way they dress. The way Lemon Breland dresses is, out of this
the 1960s.
world.
This is the 21st century. It's not,
You
my
guys,
gosh.
there are still people like that. Those Southern
In the
belles. I like it. I wear my cowgirl boots. I'm not going to lie.
I don't see Lemon Breland wearing cowboy boots.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'm down with the cowboy boots.
But she must not like anyone, because Ruby comes in and she's like, oh, crap, don't talk to me. Don't come up and talk to me. Does she have any friends, really? I don't think so.
Annabeth.
She's not really, though.
It is. It's one of those friends, you hate your friends. Not all the time. but,
Frenemies.
but those friends that you
Do
hate.
you see this?
The friends you hate.
I mean, it's like the little bit of like underlying competition between them, and they'd be there for each other, or at least Annabeth would be there for Lemon.
Yeah, not so much for Lemon though.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I like
Ruby comes
Annabeth.
to town. Yeah, she's
one of my
just like
favorite
whatever.
characters.
She's funny. She's just got that quirk about her. You're like, oh, I like that girl.
I like
You
her.
know, in a way, I feel like maybe Lemon will end up being a little bit jealous of her. I mean, she got divorced. Maybe she's gonna try to be more like her.
More like Ruby?
No,
Or
more like
Annabeth.
Annabeth.
You know.
I could see that.
But so Ruby, she comes in. She's best friends with Zoe now. And she's going over to have wine and fried chicken. And next thing you know, LaVon spills his wine all over Zoe's shirt.
I like that shirt too.
Right, so
I know.
cute. She has
Yes,
some
She
good
has really good
style.
stuff.
That's for sure. But we come to find out, Ruby and LaVon used to date high school sweethearts in the small town of Bluebell.
Seems like LaVon has dated everyone in Bluebell.
But not everyone
They leave and then
knows
they come
about
back.
Lemon, though.
That's
You
true.
know, he hides it.
When will that come out?
Oh, it will.
Oh, I can't
We'll
wait.
see what happens there. Predictions. We'll have those later. But so Ruby and LaVon, high school sweethearts. He just moved off to college, left her there, and he never called. Guys and their avoidance when it comes to things like that, you know? Why couldn't he just tell her, like, you know what? I'm in college. You have your senior year.
I'm an athlete in college.
Date some other, right? I don't know. So LaVon and Ruby, now it looks like they may end up being pretty good friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, he admits he was immature, and he
Thank
admits that she was, he was wrapped around her finger. He didn't want to get. There's always been that time where somebody tries to break up with somebody, and they convince you not to break up with them, and you're like, and you go home, and you're like, that was not the plan. That was not what I wanted. So I think LaVon just tried to avoid that altogether and just not speak to her.
That'll be fun to see how it all turns out.
I want a relationship for LaVon.
Yeah, a
good
good
one.
one.
Yeah, one
Yes.
that lasts for more than just a few episodes.
And that's actually like a good relationship, not Dee Dee. Like they were such a bad couple.
yeah,
Dee Dee.
She was
They
such a
tried.
ditz.
She was so
Can you
annoying.
get a legit girlfriend?
I feel sorry for her. I mean, because you heard the news reporter come up and like, Zoe Gate, you might not win mayor this year. Like, LaVon's nice to most people, you know? He's friends with Zoe when no one else was. Like, come on, give him a good relationship. Let him get reelected for mayor. Don't ruin LaVon's life in Bluebell.
And if he's not mayor, who is?
Yeah,
that's
he's
what you
got,
have to
what,
think about.
98%?
Ooh, good question.
Think about it. Predictions, you got to say, but that's a good one right there. I could already guess. But I don't know. So we move on to Lemon here. She's kind of a crazy
she's
girl,
going
right?
crazy. She is.
I understand it though. I mean, she just 15-year relationship. He left her at the altar. Like, they're not getting married. What is she gonna do? She's 30 years old, which that surprised me. I was like, she's 30 years old. She's
Did you
living
think she
with
was
her-
older or younger?
No, I did think she was a little bit younger. I mean, you know, to still live with your parents, that's fine. Like a lot of the times that happens, but I mean, she's done nothing. She's never worked. She's never made money, and now she's kind of just stuck.
Can you imagine Lemon having a job? I just can't picture it.
She
I don't
needs
know.
it,
She
doesn't
needs it.
she?
I think she needs it, but like, what kind of job would Lemon have? Like, what?
Being the chair of something.
The
I
chair of
mean, she
something.
works
I
real
could see her
hard
as
at.
a receptionist.
Yeah.
She won't like that though.
legitimately.
She likes the control.
She doesn't
So
wanna take
eventually we'll
orders.
see what happens. But if she's going to be the
She'll be a
waitress, which we
waitress.
saw,
No,
we'll see how that develops a little bit. She's going to have to learn to take orders from other people.
from Wade, of all people.
Of all people.
Well, she's in denial, anyways, through the whole episode. She's trying to be that strong woman when really she needs like a good breakdown. Like she needs to just break down, and that kind of is what happens
It
when
is.
she's trudging through town with a knife. I mean, if I saw Lemon Breland coming at me with that cake cutter, I would have ran. I
Yeah,
would not
because
let her
it's
near me.
Lemon. You know she doesn't want anyone to get in her way, and here she is on her way to Zoe Hart's house with a knife, just out and open, walking through town.
Not even hiding it.
You know what got me though was the fact that no one. So she has this knife. She goes to Zoe's house, and no one's really that worried about it. Like Wade and George are like bonding over it
scared.
at Wade's right. And so then they call the police, and the sheriff like is like, oh, you know, I'll come over in a little bit. Then comes over and talks to Wade and George. Clearly isn't very concerned about it. Then they go to like this barbecue thing, and then eventually they show up and worry about the hostage situation. I don't.
Well, they don't
And
really like Zoe.
he talks to the GPS about how to.
That was
That was
very
very
odd.
weird. That was very strange.
That was a little weird. And you know, as she's walking through town with the knife, and you see them hitting the picture of her and George, and the heart breaking in half, like right down the middle. that's just when it sent her over the edge. But, it's kind of funny. The one person that she does go to is Zoe, who kind of calms her down eventually.
She couldn't go to her dad, the other doctor. Like, I think she literally thought she was having a heart attack, like she said. I don't think she was denying that. I think she thought she was going to die, and she was okay with that. But she didn't want, and she was willing to die in front of Zoe. But I think she was having such a hard time with her dad and with George. The only person in town who wasn't going to pity her was Zoe. And that's who she went to.
Where was Magnolia when she needed her?
Magnolia's just trying to steal her room. It's the little sister trying to take the big sister's room. It happened to me. They like to do that. She's too concerned about that. But, it's good. Zoe was there for her. She knew she was having a panic attack. Who wouldn't? Her life really fell apart. She's hitting rock bottom, so it is kind of good because they both have big changes that are happening in their lives. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how their friendship unfolds, I think.
Yeah. Lemon just needs a lot of growing up.
I'm glad she broke down, though, because when she was sitting at the breakfast table, like, eating waffles and stuff, I'm like, really? The day after you got left at the altar, you're not going to be able to eat.
No.
I don't know.
I would have no appetite, like, crying. I would be a mess.
A mess.
Well, it's a good show, though, that's for sure. One of my favorites. Speaking about shows, we have a huge fall lineup at AfterBuzzTV.com. Go check it out. Over 50 new shows. I'm sure some of your favorite. You're hosting another show, right?
Yeah, Castle and Beauty and the Beast. So
see?
check
got
them out.
A few there. And Nashville premieres next week. I'm also hosting that one. So most of your favorite shows will probably be on there. Check it out at AfterBuzzTV.com. So let's move on to another topic that we have here. The big one that everyone was waiting for. Zoe and Wade, they got together. It looks like it's going to happen. It's a big storyline, it seems like, for this season. What do y'all think about it?
Love it.
Yeah? Me too. I do too.
Sexual tension the whole last season, and you were just every episode you're like, I think I do it. I think I do it. Like, I was like living through. I was like, they have to do it this episode, and they never did. And so now they're finally doing it a lot, apparently.
But are they going to date or just hook up?
See, they're both I think they're just like using each other right now because they both have feelings for. Wade has serious feelings for her, but he has all these walls up. He's never really been in a relationship where he loves someone, and I think that could potentially happen with Zoe.
Ooh,
She's kind of scared of being hurt by Wade, I think, because he is the token bad boy, and any girl's afraid of the bad boy hurting her or thinks that they can change the bad boy. She doesn't really feel that way yet. But she can read right through him, I think.
And she's kind of already been, in a way, shut down by Wade multiple times, first with the B-, which was, ridiculous. And then, before where he was basically like, I don't want to date you. I don't want this to be anything serious. So I don't know. I feel like it'll continue for a while at least, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be a good part of the season. Because I know the whole first season I watched, I was like, come on. When is something going to happen between them? Of course, she always wanted George, which is just like, because he's the good one.
He's a nice
guy.
It's
time for her to experience life a little bit, She went to med school. Like, she was with that weird guy all throughout med school. Now she's going to have some fun.
I know how we assume he's so weird.
I just do. I don't know why.
I personally would have liked a guest starring appearance from her ex-boyfriend. They can get any actor.
Yeah.
We never met him in first season, so they can get whoever to play that role just so she can deal with that breakup. 6 years and you just like never speak to the guy again and you're cool with it?
She's such a love him. I think it was one of those things. It was just she even said, she's like, I met him on a study date, and then it turned into a relationship that lasted for 6 years. Like, I didn't care. I think that's her problem, is she spent too much time caring. That's why she moved to Bluebell. She spent too much time caring about being a doctor and not so much about her relationships. And now she's doing the complete opposite of that, and it's kind of blowing up in her face. But that's what everybody else experienced in college and in high school, and she obviously hasn't experienced that yet. And so this is Zoe's turn to have some, big meltdowns in her life.
It's good, I think. The small town's good for her right now. She's kind of learning more about herself. That's kind of the whole point, right? Learning about her father, who left the practice tour, and now kind of figuring out what she really wants to do. And she's had opportunities to leave Bluebell as well, but she stays for some reason.
Well, she can hide her problems in New York. You can go about your daily business and just pretend it's not happening. Here, every single person in town reminds her of her problems on a daily basis and
Half
tell her.
the town are her problems.
Yeah.
Exactly. She can't hide from it.
True.
Did
It's
anyone
crazy.
notice Zoe's amped up look? Like she had
Yes.
makeup on, like a
Her
lot.
lips
Yeah.
shifting.
I was like, okay, look at you, Zoe.
She's opening
So-
up.
She looked good. She always looks
Sparkly
good.
eyeshadow going on.
And the shoes. Did you see her shoes?
Yes, I did.
She's just got great style.
She
And
does.
I saw she
I've
had
never-
Christian Louboutins on. at one point.
Of course.
I've never seen a doctor wear those before.
In Alabama.
I don't know.
Right, you would think
know.
after being there for a year, she'd like switch it up and stop wearing what she's wearing, but
She'd have like the white sneakers on by now, but
no,
apparently not.
staying true Zoe. I like it.
One other thing that I really loved about this episode was just the entire town finds out about this hostage situation, and they are all there just waiting to see what happens. Like, really? Everyone has to come out to see what's going to happen here? That's just a small town for you, I guess.
And they,
it travels quickly.
They turned it into a party, basically, and like
They're just like, what's going to happen?
They're just waiting for them to come out, but.
Yeah, and nobody goes in
much.
to stop it because they're all too involved in it. You know, LaVon can't go because Lemon obviously had a relationship with LaVon. George can't go because he's had a relationship with both of them, and Wade can't go. Well, Wade could maybe go, but he's stopped by George. So it's just like nobody's manning up. Nobody really cared that much if she was killing her.
No, they were manning up. They decided to fight each other, which, what was this fight over anyways, you know?
Zoe.
It was who was going to go inside to find out what was happening when really no one jumped in the first place. They're just rumbling around on the ground. You know, you've got the news reporter there trying to figure out what's happening. And I loved the question at the end, too, when they said, why did Lemon and George break up? They kind of had to answer it to the whole town. And they said it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, not one person was at fault because it's not. I mean, it's LaVon, it's Lemon, it's George, it's Zoe, it's all of them. I mean,
it's
just
Brick,
a hot mess.
even, like, not letting Lemon experience other things. I mean, he really did coddle her, like she said the whole time, so she didn't really get out and experience life. She was just kind of assumed this was going to be her life path.
Do you guys think Lemon and George will get back together eventually, or no?
yes.
Yes.
You do?
I do. I just think that the way they broke up, it's too easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh, we're
I
done.
agree.
It's over. Like, you don't put 15 years behind you like that just because you have an interest in somebody else. It doesn't work like that. And every time he sees Lemon, he's going to be reminded of those 15 years because they shared some sweet moments, and they shared some moments where they remembered when they were teenagers. And I think that will always keep George going back to her. So I don't think that's the last we're going to see of them because that's just too easy. Too easy for the CW and too easy for real life anyways.
What about Lemon and LaVon?
See, I
Because
think
now we got Ruby in there, too.
right.
so-
We'll see a lot with Lemon. I think with Lemon and George, though, because it's just interesting to me. Like, they have all these memories, but they are from high school. It's when they're younger. Like, are they ready to move on? I feel like maybe it's time to be like, you know what, that was a perfect relationship back then.
Not
But now it might be time to see what else is out there. And who knows? I mean, I guess if it's meant to be, it'll work out how it's supposed to. But I don't know. I kind of think maybe it was just like that was their 15-year relationship, which was best in high school. It obviously was disheveled after that. What are they going to do now?
Yeah, well, Lemon never had anything to aspire to. You know, it was just
Yeah.
marrying George, and now she's got something to aspire to. So maybe when she figures out what she wants to do, she doesn't want George anymore. You never know.
Ooh.
You never
I feel
know.
like she's gonna grow up and grow out of her George phase. I
And
think
then
it was
maybe George
a very,
will want
very
her,
long 15-year
and
phase.
then she
but-
won't want him.
Isn't
It's
that
just
always-
so much could happen.
Now, what about LaVon, though? Because, honestly, if you think about it, it's George, LaVon. That's all that Lemon has really been associated with, unless there's going to be someone new that comes in. I mean,
That'd be
I don't
nice.
really see who it would
I
be
could
right
see
now.
someone new for Lemon.
Yeah,
Some
but
guy
who
This
comes
wants
is a
Lemon?
very big long shot, but Lemon and Wade. No.
I thought
I
it.
thought that
it
during the show.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want that.
No, I think that'd be bad
see
too.
it.
I think it would be bad, but they have
Tom Long. No, I'm joking.
no.
The only way that I see something like that happening is if he's trying to get back at George for some reason.
Wade?
Yeah, I don't think he would. I think because they were good friends growing up, you know, it was like always George, Wade, and Lemon. Like you always saw, and they used to do crazy things on the football field or whatever it was that they were doing, like pranks and stuff. I don't think that Wade feels that way about her.
Not now.
I mean, it's Lemon. Wasn't someone like, you're named after a fruit? Someone finally brought
Ruby.
that up. Ruby. She
Ruby.
finally brought it up. And I was like, it's about time. This
know.
girl's name.
they act like it's so
Magnolia
normal.
Lemon. I mean, I guess maybe, but that always got me.
Oh.
She's an interesting one.
Maybe it's short for like lemonade or.
Well, they call her different things. He always calls her like lemon meringue or lemonade. Like they always call her nicknames. It's like, oh God, if that was my name.
How many lemon things can there be?
Lemon pie. I don't know, but Lemon lives up to her name. She's pretty sour, so she's intense.
But I feel like she's changing, and I mean that was kind of the whole point of even in just this one episode, she kind of at least tried to change into a different person. So maybe the new version of Lemon will end up with someone totally different who might just not even be in the show yet.
I know, we see all these layers coming out from all the characters, which is how it should be, you know, because they're kind of going through all this change and stuff. So it should be cool to see what ends up happening. What did you all think about when Zoe was saying she knows what she's going to do? Of course, we all guessed it when we were watching it. We were like, but what do you think about the way she handled it, or her reasonings? Like, she sat down with George and she said, you know, I don't want to be your rebound. What do you think about it?
That was a very good point. Like, the entire time that George has been kind of forcing himself on her, not really forcing himself on her, but in the back of my head, I'm always like, George, do you realize that, like, you're trying to use her as your rebound and you're not acknowledging? And then he had the audacity to kind of, like, have an attitude because she hooked up with Wade. It's like, dude, she's just not going to wait for you forever. So I was glad
so?
Yeah.
I thought she handled it really well, because it's true, like, she protects herself a lot, though, because she's always said she's kind of afraid of commitment, but it's smart in this instance, because it's like, he was with a girl for 15 years that he's jumping right into, I didn't marry her because of you. Like, you got to be careful with that. So she did kind of handle that in a good way.
And if he didn't marry her because of you, then you have a lot to live up to in that relationship. You have a lot to prove to him that he made the right choice, and that's not even fair to Zoe, because she's going to constantly be proving to him that he made the right choice not marrying Lemon, and the rest of the town already hates her, so she's going to have to live with that too. I don't think people will hate George if he dates Zoe. They'll still just hate Zoe. They think it's her fault. You know, George is the Modi. He's the man of the year. He's a great guy, and she's the home wrecker, the girl who stole the practice from Brooke. I mean, she's all these things everybody already hated. I mean, for her, it was just a bad idea in general to get with him. And so I think, you know, with a little thought, she made the right choice. And, I mean, she's having fun with Wade.
I think always between George and Zoe, timing has never been on their side. You know, they find that they like each other when he's engaged, and that's when they kiss. Like, now he wants to get together with her, but it's right after you ended a 15-year relationship. Like, maybe that's saying something. I think she realizes that, but I don't know. They said how if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Hopefully our paths will cross at the right time. I don't know if there's ever going to be a right time with them. I think that's the whole relationship between them.
Maybe in a while. Who knows?
That's season 5.
I think Wade is, season 5.
We got some time.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know. I think that's, you know, every relationship. Like, if it's not, I agree with you. If it's not working now, why is it going to be working in 5 years? Why is it going to be working in 2 months after you've dated 2 or 3 people? I mean, you're in that short period of time that he was asking her for at the beginning. He's like, what is it, a week, a couple weeks, a month? Like, you can't figure it out in that short of time. You can't even figure out if you really love somebody in that short of amount of time. And if you do, then you're kind of like a little gung-ho about it, I guess, a little overexcited about your relationship. I think, so it would be unfair to both of them to do that either way. I think they need, like, years apart.
And I think Zoe's whole point is basically to say, get over me before we can be together. And if he's just trying to put a time limit on it, then he's probably never going to get over her. And I don't know.
Yeah, typical guy move, though, to just move from one relationship to the next.
So they don't really have to think about
never
what's
deal with the
going
emotions.
on, what she needs to do, obviously.
He needs to handle himself. Like, before he tries to be in a relationship
George
with someone
Tucker,
else.
come on, boy.
I'm going hard on George.
Well,
Sorry.
he's always a nice guy. Somebody's got to, like, show the other side of this dude. He needs a little bit of help.
He does.
He's on an emotional roller coaster. It's like he's taking her out to New Orleans, and then he's all sad because his wedding song comes on, and then he's getting married to Lemon, and then he's all sad because Zoe's staying. It's like, God, make up your mind.
Did I miss him getting punched in the face on the season finale?
Yeah,
What was that?
By Lemon. Lemon punched him in the face.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it was.
I was like, she could have slapped him, but she just like went for it. And punched him.
Last season.
Yeah, last season.
And then here comes the bruise. Which,
Okay,
you know.
okay.
I mean, which if someone like dumped me at my wedding, I would do the same
No,
thing.
I just didn't remember where it came from. And I was like, what
it
is
was
that?
from Lemon.
Yeah, when she was in her wedding dress, she punched.
It was one of those relationships, though, when they both knew it wasn't right, but something had to happen for it to end because no one really wanted, you know, they were comfortable. They didn't really want the change. In the end,
and she was a security blanket. She had been for 15 years. If you're with someone for that long, it's not. I mean, he kind of made it a quick fix, I guess, with Zoe, but it's really not.
Yeah. So then Zoe goes to tell Wade that she didn't choose George. He thought that they'd be riding out off into the sunset. And then they just go at, like, not go at it literally right then, but yelling at each other. They're just like, you can see the tension between them. What did y'all think about that?
I liked it. It's almost like makeup sex, only it's like fighting sex. You know what I mean? It's like that intense passion they both have. She's mad at George and she doesn't know what she wants. And she's pissed he told her that she was a B-. And so
She had
I'd
to
be
prove
pissed
him.
yeah, she's got to
I think
prove
she
it.
really is a B-. Like,
Zoe Hart.
Zoe Hart.
Zoe
yeah.
Hart.
Well, she hasn't
I
had
don't
sex
think
in a year.
A year. I mean, she
I
just
don't
doesn't strike
know.
me as like the, you know.
Still, though, it is funny because
Time to,
he knew how to like hit her nerve to where it's like, I'm gonna prove it to him, even though she was like, I don't need to prove anything to you. Next thing you know, she's trying to prove
Yeah,
it.
but she's ranting all about, I'm the best at everything I do. I'm the best doctor. I was the best in school. I'm the best at this. And it's like, all right, then. You got to prove it, I guess. And she sure does.
I mean, it's definitely a way to get her to, you know, try a little harder, which is only going to benefit him.
But I think it'll also make it a little bit more difficult for their relationship. It's gonna make them more attached. At least her, for sure. And I think he already is, even though he pretends he's not.
Oh, yeah, he's super attached.
So that's kind of how they leave the episode, which it's going to be interesting for next week, their little teaser they showed us. But we should maybe get into some news and gossip. Talk about what else.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So we got a lot of stuff, which is so exciting. So Olympic gymnasts, they are all over the place. Olympians are all over the place.
In
Michaela
general.
Maroney, so the star at the vault, she got the silver medal on vault. She is going to be a guest star in Hart of Dixie. She's going to play Rose's friend. So,
yay,
yeah, won't that be
Rose.
perfect?
And she comes, I think I read that she comes into the high school and actually defends Rose when I guess
Magnolia
Rose-
probably is being
Right.
made.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
As usual.
I missed Rose. I didn't realize we didn't see Rose. I missed her.
I didn't. I love Rose.
Yeah, so she apparently wants to be an actress. So after, winning an Olympic gold medal with the team, next thing, she's got it all together. It's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, a lot of the Olympians have been on shows.
A ton of them.
Ryan Lochte was on 90210, and then another gymnast, Gabby Douglas, Vampire Diaries. So we're going to be seeing a lot of them, which is exciting.
And she's like healing from getting hurt already. And so she's just go, that Michaela Maroney. And her face at the Olympics, clearly she's got some skill in showing how she feels. So
That'll be great.
That'll be interesting.
I'm
to
excited
see.
to
I hope
see.
she does it.
And then I hear about a country singer, Broadway star country singer Laura Bell Bundy. She's going to be coming on the show, another blonde, possibly to woo George Tucker. So
Rebound for George?
I don't
Better than
know.
Zoe, I
Another
guess.
blonde, of course, right? But it should be interesting. Country star, she's a Southern belle herself. So for someone to come in, and now we can kind of see how George is going to be dating around and see what happens there, which is going to be kind of fun. Also, did anybody see the movie 10 Years that just came out? About a 10-year reunion. Scott Porter is in that as well. So I saw that just recently came out, so he's doing Hart of Dixie, some other movies. It was kind of funny. I watched it, and his name in the movie, he went by Scotty P. So his actual name from high school. So it was like a 10-year reunion in high school. But lots of good stuff going on. Anything else y'all want to add?
No, they're up to a lot. I mean, I think Rachel Bilson has really been making the rounds there. She's been with every magazine and, podcasts kind of telling them all about what this is going to bring and what's it going to be for Zoe. And I love her. She's just so nice and so cute. And you even in the show, you want her to do good. And in real life, I think she's like Zoe in real life. So I want to watch her.
She went on live with Kelly and Michael, and apparently he picked her up and spun her around or something when she was doing promos for Hart of Dixie. So it's going to be a good season, I think. So should we get into our predictions? The best part.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Do y'all have some good ones?
Kind of creepy.
Don't you like it? It's like
Right?
Halloween. It's October.
It is
They've
Halloween.
got to
That's
use
like-
the
that's
music.
true.
Who wants to start? Anybody have some good ones? I have random ones. Some little ones.
Well, let's hear one.
Okay.
Let's hear a random one.
I think that throughout the season, we might see Lemon and Zoe become closer. I think they could potentially have a friendship. Or at least be that one person that they go to when it's like, you want to hear the truth. They don't really like each other, so they're going to tell it how it is, and they really both need that sometimes. So I can see that happening here in the future.
I agree.
Any other ones?
I think that Mr. Brick, he's going to have maybe a little storyline with his relationships.
Definitely.
So he's maybe getting over his ex-wife, and he's finally going to
Finally.
move forward. So that's good.
That's a good one. I think that we'll
Yay.
see that develop. That's smart.
and
hope
then
so.
he's obviously going to let go of his grip on Lemon a little bit, so it works for everybody.
And maybe even for Zoe, maybe he'll loosen up a bit in the office and not
Yes,
be so
true.
tense because he is so hard on her. He needs to just shake it off. She's there to stay. So
Yeah.
She owns half the business. Any other ones? I think LaVon.
I see LaVon and Ruby. I think it's going to happen. Even, I don't know if I like the idea of it, but I think it'll happen.
I think that it's true. But, I mean, high school feelings right there. It's all coming back. He knows he was immature, but it's time for him to have a relationship. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us for Hart of Dixie. We'll be back next week. You can look it up on YouTube. Also, go to iTunes, rate and comment. We'd love to hear from you.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.